Allegations of sex abuse in the Catholic Church are creating new shockwaves in Dallas tonight.
Late into the evening, box after box of documents were still being loaded onto police trucks at the Catholic Diocese of Dallas. Police raided 3 properties belonging to the diocese, including a church, a storage facility, and the headquarters.
A search warrant alleges members of the diocese staff knew of sexual abuse allegations against priests and in some cases did little or absolutely nothing about it, something the bishop denies.
Alice Barr has been digging through the search warrant. Alice, there is a lot here.
There is a lot. This is more than 30 pages of really disturbing detail. Not only are there shocking details of alleged abuse involving 5 priests, but the investigator who wrote the search warrant accuses the diocese of stonewalling when Dallas police asked for documents, leading police to today's raids. In multiple instances, police requested documents pertaining to specific allegations, but claimed they were given incomplete files. In one case, after pressing a second time, the diocese produced 51 pages they originally omitted from one accused priest's personnel file. The search warrant says that a diocese employee who was tasked with reporting allegations of abuse to Child Protective Services failed to do so in several cases. The warrant even states that the employee made notes about mailing a letter rather than sending an online notification to CPS. The investigator adds the word, quote, interestingly, saying that the agency prefers online reports because those are sent directly to local law enforcement. The warrant also details how the diocese determined what to report to police. The police investigator who wrote the warrant cast doubt on the process, saying a diocesan review board was used to determine what was a credible accusation of abuse, and then would report to the bishop, who would report to police. Now, there's one more thing we want to note here. The diocese hired former law enforcement officials to investigate claims, but the search warrant notes that those officers were originally hired to look into financial matters, and that he said they in fact did not have experience with sex crimes.
So they weren't there for the sex crimes or other matters, it sounds like.
They were originally brought in for other matters, but then he said, quote, as a matter of convenience, that they were shifted to then look into the sex crimes.
Interesting. Okay, Alice, thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Dallas Morning News writer David Tarrant has been covering this investigation from the beginning. He says what happened today is very significant.
Now what we have is law enforcement getting involved in saying, no, we're going to control this investigation, not the Catholic Church.
Tonight, Dallas Bishop Edward Burns is defending the church's handling of the case. Allie Spilliards is live outside the church where the bishop gave his response earlier today. Allie?
Yeah, Brian, that happened at the church just across the street from the diocese, where Dallas police left just a few minutes ago after spending the entire day working out of this building. They spent hours coming out with boxes full of files, putting them in large trucks, hours after police released documents questioning whether the church had withheld records when it came to priests accused of abusing minors. Bishop Edward Burns then met with reporters to argue that they have fully cooperated with police, citing multiple times that his office has voluntarily handed over more than 2,000 documents. He also said his private investigators found multiple inaccuracies in what police have claimed, though he couldn't tell us what those were. Still, he said he welcomes today's actions.
I stand before you confident, knowing that we're doing what's right. And in being confident, it's an opportunity for me to say, go ahead, search. If you really think that there's something more, then look. And if you want to look at it closer, then take it.
Now, something he was not willing to share today were the identities of the people on that diocesan review board. He said for now he is going to protect the privacy of those individuals, but he said that we should all trust that they were qualified for those jobs. Live in Dallas, Allie Spilliards, NBC5.
All right, Allie, thank you. And today, Bishop Edward Burns said the church is still providing shelter and sustenance to the 5 priests at the center of the investigation. We will be following this investigation, bringing you updates as we get them. If you want to take a closer look at the documents released today, go to our website, nbcdfw.com. And for the survivors of abuse in the Catholic Church, today's news is more than a headline. It's personal. Monica Baez says she was a toddler when the abuse started. Her alleged abuser was a priest in the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston, and was on the list of credibly accused priests there, released in February.
Well, I knew that it was something wrong because it was painful. He forced. It was child rape. I call it child rape. I call it what it is.
Baez's priest abuser is dead. She says years of therapy have helped, but the pain she feels is still very much alive.
Police executing search warrants across the city as part of a widening clergy sex abuse investigation.
Detectives are investigating at least 5 additional allegations of child abuse against other suspects.
We recognize that throughout our collaboration with police, there are some who are not satisfied and want to look for themselves.
The raids took the diocese by surprise. Church officials say they've been cooperating with authorities for months.
Those search warrants were executed at several locations today. That does include the Catholic Diocese of Dallas headquarters. We have team coverage tonight with Robbie Owens, also J.D. Miles. We're going to start with Robbie over at Dallas Police headquarters. Robbie?
Well, Doug, the 5 priests named in today's search warrant were all publicly accused months ago. And yet police officials here clearly don't believe that the diocese has told them all they know. So as you said, armed with search warrants, officers fanned out across the city, going to 3 locations today connected to the Catholic Diocese. It's Oak Lawn area headquarters, a storage facility on West Ledbetter, and St. Cecilia Catholic Church. Its longtime pastor, Edmundo Paredes, vanished after being accused of molesting teenage boys and stealing money from the church. An arrest warrant was issued for him in January. Police now tell us that publicity surrounding that case led other victims to come forward.
In furtherance of these investigations today, we obtained and executed multiple search warrants to collect any data or documentation of previous reports or records of abuse that may be held by the Dallas Catholic Diocese. The Dallas Police Department is working to complete a thorough investigation into each allegation, independent of any other entity, to ensure that each victim has a voice within the legal system.
The police officials here today wouldn't give us a time frame on when they believe these new allegations initially occurred, and yet they are still asking other potential victims to come forward. This all, of course, potentially ushering in another difficult chapter for the local Catholic Church. My colleague J.D. Miles is live outside the Holy Trinity Catholic Church, where, J.D., I understand earlier today Bishop Burns called this police raid unnecessary.
He did, Robbie, and even here at the end of the workday, some 10 hours later, Dallas police are still here blocking entrances and exits inside the Diocese of Dallas, seizing records. Appearance-wise, it's not a good look for the Catholic Church. The Bishop, Edward Burns, knows that, but he insists the Diocese of Dallas has done nothing to deserve this.
Go ahead, search. If you really think that there's something more, then look. And if you want to look at it closer, then take it.
A defiant Bishop Edward Burns defended the Diocese of Dallas, saying his pastoral office has given Dallas police access to 2,400 files on 31 priests accused of abuse since 1950. The list was commissioned by the bishop last year in an effort to clean out and expose any and all bad priests. The list of 31, many of them dead, was released in January. Dallas police did not believe the diocese was forthcoming enough, resulting in today's raid. The bishop says he is, quote, not denied anything to anyone.
The diocese has been cooperating with the ongoing investigation of these priests, even before the list was made public, and has given police the personnel files for all the priests.
At this point, we don't know what police have removed from the office. There's a truck behind me that's ready to carry away boxes of evidence, but we haven't seen anything loaded inside at this point. The bishop says the police search warrant is full of misstatements, inaccuracies. They plan to address that with Dallas police. He also says his office is determined to be transparent, despite what you see here. Live in Dallas, J.D. Miles, CBS 11 News.
J.D., thank you. Survivors of sexual abuse say police taking these allegations seriously makes them feel validated. Monica Baez's abuse started as a toddler. While her case is not directly linked to this latest investigation, her perpetrator was named on a list of accused priests in Texas earlier this year.
What they tried to do or couldn't do as children or young adults or vulnerable adults or even teenagers, that finally someone's listening. I know there's survivors out there, and I just want them to know, just keep fighting to live and don't let them win. Don't let that perpetrator take your life over.
And if you have information on any case involving child abuse, contact the Dallas Police Child Exploitation Squad at 214-671-4211. And stay with CBS 11 on air and online as this story continues to develop. For all the newest information, you can head to our website, cbsdfw.com.